OpenAI promised to keep super smart AI in check, but then they shut down their safety team. A Microsoft chatbot went online and in less than a day had to be pulled after spewing hate, and Amazon closed its Shanghai AI lab, leaving dozens of researchers without jobs. These are AI projects scientists quietly shut down. About a year ago, OpenAI shut down one of its most important teams, the one that was supposed to keep super intelligent AI somewhat under control. They were a safety team. The group is called the Super Alignment Team. It had been created to make what OpenAI called, quote, scientific and technical breakthroughs to steer and control AI systems much smarter than us. They promised to dedicate 20% of their computing power to this project over 4 years, but just a year later, the team was disbanded. Both the team's leaders, Ilya Sutskever and one of OpenAI's founders, Jan Leak, quit right before the team was dissolved. And all of this happened the same week OpenAI was showing off its new, faster GPT model. Leica posted that OpenAI's, quote, safety culture and processes have taken a backseat to shiny products. He also wrote that building smarter than human machines is inherently dangerous, and that OpenAI has, quote, an enormous responsibility on behalf of all humanity. Back in 2016, Microsoft launched an AI chatbot named Tay. It was meant to be pretty lighthearted, fun, joke around, comment on pictures, but Tay quickly became a nightmare. The bot wasn't coded to be racist, but it learns from the people it talks to. And on the internet, I mean, we could be watching a video about a squirrel riding on a kitten's back, and you'll see people just talking crazy in the comments. So in less than a day, Tay was denying the Holocaust and a whole bunch of other stuff. Within 16 hours of going live, Microsoft had to pull the plug. Tay tweeted that she was turning off for the night, and well, it's been nearly 10 years now. Microsoft later said Tay was a, quote, machine learning project designed for human engagement as much as a social and cultural experiment as it is technical, but that some users had launched a coordinated effort to have Tay respond in inappropriate ways. Over the summer, Amazon shut down its AI research lab in Shanghai. The lab had been around since 2018, working on things like machine learning and teaching computers to understand language. Wang Minjie, one of the scientists there, said it was closed because of, quote, strategic adjustments amid US-China tensions. Amazon confirmed it in a short statement, saying they had to, quote, eliminate some roles across particular teams. A bunch of people lost jobs, not just in Shanghai, but in other parts of the company too. With the political climate the way it is these days, though, I mean, that's just not all that surprising. Back in August, Elon Musk said Tesla shut down the team working on its Dojo supercomputer, even though he'd just announced plans for a second version called Dojo 2. He posted on X saying, quote, I had to shut down Dojo and make some tough personal choices, as Dojo 2 is now an evolutionary dead end. Dojo was supposed to be a huge, powerful machine that could help Tesla train its AI, mainly for self-driving cars, but also for potential future robots. Second version, Dojo 2, was going to use a new chip called D2, but Tesla decided to scrap that as well. Now they're focusing on two newer chips, AI5 and AI6. AI5 mainly for cars, while AI6 is for cars and robots. Dojo had been a big part of Tesla's plan to make self-driving cars and robots since 2019, but talk about it slowed down when Musk started hyping Cortex, another AI supercomputer in Austin. Nobody knows yet what's happening with that, or the $500 million Dojo building Buffalo. So Meta, the company behind Facebook and Instagram, decided to dive headfirst into the AI race earlier this year. Mark Zuckerberg announced something called the Meta Superintelligence Lab, meant to compete with companies like OpenAI. This was supposed to be their dream team. Top researchers, huge budgets, access to insane computer power to build what's called artificial general intelligence, or AGI. Basically, the kind of AI that can think and reason like a human, unlike Mark Zuckerberg. Pretty early on, 3 of their researchers quit. 2 of them actually went right back to OpenAI, which is kind of embarrassing considering that's who Meta was trying to catch up with. Meta's spokesperson tried to brush it off, saying it's normal for people to change their minds during hiring, but not a great look when your new superintelligence lab is losing its best people before it even really gets going. Last month, the AI companion app Dot announced it was going to be shutting down on October 5th, giving users time to grab their data before it disappeared. Dot was created in 2024 by Sam Whitmore and former Apple designer Jason Yuan, who described it as a, quote, way to foster a relationship with one's inner self, like your own living mirror. Basically, Dot was supposed to be your AI friend, someone to chat with, get advice from, or just vent to, and it would learn about you over time. But things got complicated. People have started to realize that these, AI friend apps can sometimes mess with your head. They're just not beneficial, really. There's a term for this, AI psychosis. If someone's feeling confused or paranoid, which a lot of us are these days, the bot can accidentally reinforce those thoughts instead of actually helping people get better. OpenAI recently had this whole scandal after a teen talked to ChatGPT about his thoughts on self-harm and ended up taking his own life after ChatGPT basically said it supported the decision. Dot's founders didn't say safety concerns were the reason it's shutting down. They just said they weren't on the same page anymore. Instead of compromising either party's vision, we have decided to go our separate ways and shut down the service. We realize that this means many of you will lose a friend, confidant, and partner, so we hope to give everyone some time to say goodbye, they said in a statement. Months ago, the UK government shut down at least half a dozen AI projects that were meant to help the welfare system. They're designed to do things like speed up disability payments, help people find jobs faster, make government services easier to use. Trying to use a government website is just like, oh my god, rather chew on tinfoil right on the fillings. Two of the more famous projects that were shut down, A Cubed, which is going to help staff guide people into work, and AI Gent, which was supposed to get money to people with disabilities faster. Making AI that actually does useful stuff without messing up is really hard though. Apparently there were a lot of frustrations and false starts, and some of the experiments just couldn't get to the point where they could be used for real. The government said it wasn't a total waste though. Testing these AIs gives them lessons for the future, but just because the government talks a lot about AI, it doesn't mean it's actually ready to fix the big problems. Imogen Parker from the Ada Lovelace Institute, a UK research group that studies AI to make sure it's being used as safely as possible, said, quote, "Are the right lessons being learned and acted upon? And does the reality of AI match the rhetoric?" The Alan Turing Institute is the UK's top AI research center, but lately the people who actually work there are freaking out a bit. A bunch of staff made a whistleblowing complaint, saying the place is basically in chaos and could collapse because the government is threatening its funding. They say the board, led by Doug Gurr, the former Amazon UK boss, isn't doing its job. Staff are saying there's been a, quote, culture of fear, exclusion, and defensiveness, and that the board hasn't kept track of money or important decisions properly. Part of the problem is the government wants ATI to focus more on defense and national security. Technology Secretary Peter Kyle wrote to the board saying future funding depends on better leadership and results. Because of all this pressure, about 50 people, or 10% of the staff, are at risk of being laid off. A bunch of projects have shut down. They're shutting down AI work on online safety and research on AI fairness and ethics, amongst other things. The Joint Enterprise Defense Infrastructure, or JEDI, was a huge cloud computing deal from the US Department of Defense, worth up to $10 billion. The idea was to put the military's entire digital system, including secret files and stuff on future AI projects, onto one company's cloud servers. So instead of keeping all that data on their own machines, they'd trust a tech company like Amazon or Microsoft to store and run it. It's turned into a total mess. Microsoft won in 2019, but then Amazon sued, saying Trump was biased against Jeff Bezos. Years of court fights followed, and by July of 2021, the Pentagon just canceled it. The military quickly switched to a plan using multiple companies instead of putting all their eggs in one basket. Google has always talked about building responsible AI, meaning their smart computer programs should be fair and safe, supposedly. For years, they had a special internal team known as RESIN, Responsible AI Systems and Engineering. Their main job was to review every major AI project to make sure it followed all of Google's own ethical rules. Problems started in 2023, when Google combined its main AI divisions into the powerful new group, Google DeepMind. That independent ethics team was basically broken up and absorbed. Most of the staff were shuffled over to a trust and safety team, which is mostly just focused on cleaning up spam after a product launches. The job of, actually reviewing all these cutting-edge models was given to a unit that reports to the company's lawyers. So basically, all these companies are more focused on pushing out products than checking if the AI is actually safe and ethical. Anyone surprised? I'm not. With all that said, I've been your host, James. I'll catch you, yes, you specifically, in the next video.